Hello and welcome everyone, it is me, the Laval, awesome was about to do this back for you with another deck profile, and I finally get to talk about Battlin Boxer in paper. After much shipping delays and some lead yokes not getting sent, we are here, we're talking about Battlin Boxer. So excited, this is an incredibly fun deck. I've kind of taken a bit of a soft spot to after testing with this. This isn't too different from the one I posted a couple months ago. Starting off, of course, with the craziest card in the deck in Battle Boxer Promoter. This kind of does it all. This is a level 4 that you can special summon if your opponent controls a monster. This is also a level 4 you can tribute and summon 2 differently named Battle Boxers from your deck. So it's a rescue rabbit, and you can also banish this from your graveyard and increase or decrease the levels of all Battle Boxers you control by 1. But the caveat for this amount of craziness that you can do with this guy is that you are hard locked into only special summoning Battlin Boxers that turn and activating. I think even activating the effects of only Battlin Boxers. No, it's only special summoning Battlin Boxers, but nonetheless, crazy card. So yeah, maxing out on this guy and maxing out on another new guy in Uppercutter. Uppercutter is also crazy because on summon Uppercutter either grabs you another Battlin Boxer or a counter trap, which is very nice. Having kind of a Stratos that you can of course also pull off Promoter is very sick. And if this guy is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can either summon a Battle Boxer from your graveyard, except an Uppercutter, or set a counter trap from your graveyard back onto your field, which is very nice. Gives you a good bit of kind of toolboxing through a very neat array of traps, either archetypal or even non-archetypal, like Flammable Counter, which, Uppercutter has this nicely aligned stat line with, for a, potentially searchable spell trap negate. Moving into the last new guy in the main deck, which is Chief Second. This guy gives you an additional normal for a Battlin Boxer, which is of course always highly appreciated, because this way Chief Second plus another Boxer makes your main rank 4 in King Dempsey, which is rather lovely. And this guy also has like an attack deck effect. If one of your opponent's monsters declares an attack while you only control a warrior or fire monster, you can special summon this guy from your hand and negate the attack and then banish a monster on the field until the end phase. Maybe comes up sometimes, but mainly this is just, a guy you can normal summon for an additional normal summon. And yeah, then we're getting into some of the older guys. We're still playing 2 Glassjaw. Blows itself up if it's attacked, and if it's sent to the graveyard by card effect. You can target a Battle Box in your graveyard and add it back to your hand, which is very, very sick, because this triggers even if those are detached by your XYZ, since your XYZ detach for cost. Don't detach for cost, but for card effect. So you can trigger it that way and just grab back, boxes from the graveyard for follow-up turns, which is insane. Another bit of follow-up enabling with Battlin Boxer Switch Hitter here. Also similar to Promoter, hard locks you into Battlin Boxers the turn you activate its effect. If this guy is normal summoned, you can special summon a Battlin Boxer from your graveyard, which is of course very nice. Good thing to add for like a follow-up to normal summon. Summon back a Boxer and make a rank 4, which is of course one of the main things you want to be doing in this deck. For some extenders, I'm playing 2 Sporer. This is just, a free body if you control a Battlin Boxer. You can just special this guy, but you are locked out of the battle phase for the rest of this turn, so, be careful with that. Turn 1, of course, this doesn't matter, but turn 2 onwards, you will need to be, of course, careful to, weigh the options, because a battle phase is very nice to have, especially in a deck that usually mainly outs things by combat. For a non-archetypal extender, I am playing 3 copies of Sakitama. I think this is such a great card in this deck. Insane just to have as an extender, because you can reveal this in your hand and then normal summon a spirit monster from your hand, which not only plays under the restriction of Promoter and Switch Hitter, since both lock you into special summoning lock you out of special summon anything but Battlin Boxers. And since King Dempsey is generic, you can make it with Sakitama, which is very nice. So technically, this isn't even dead if you open 2, because you can reveal 1, normal it by the effect, and then just normal the other, make a King Dempsey, which is just huge. Having that additional body, I think, is absolutely massive, and that's why I really like Sakitama in this deck. and can only highly recommend giving this a try. Then we're playing a whole bunch of engine. I hope you just didn't hear a video rendering. Playing 2 Heat of the Fire Channeler. I was initially on 3, went down to 2 because I did find this maybe a bit bricky sometimes in testing, but I still like having it because this way you can technically cite something like Blaster now that it's legal for some spot removal, which this deck really, really appreciates, which gets turn searchable by this because you can discard this and another fire monster to add a fire monster with higher attack than the monster you discarded. But you are locked into, I think, fire effects for that turn. Yes, you are locked into fire. Yeah, you're locked into fire effects for the turn. So remember to use your Sakitama before you discard Heater. For more searching, because we aren't searching enough, of course playing the 1 Rotor, because we're playing a warrior deck and playing 3 copies of Infernoble Arms Durandal. This grabs a level 5 or lower Fire Warrior, which is of course, a very funky stat line that we can make use of. Essentially, an equipped spell blows itself up, adds a level 5 or lower warrior. In most cases, you will be grabbing Promoter. This way, between the 3 Promoter, the 3 Heater, the 1 Rotor, and the 3 Durandal, you're essentially on 9 copies, which is more than enough to consistently find your way to it. Then for, some Battlin Boxer spell traps, we are playing 1 Battlin Boxing Spirits. This is a reborn spell that sends the top card of your deck to the graveyard before you target a Battlin Boxer in your graveyard and special summoning, which of course gives you a couple ways to maybe trigger some effects, because this would trigger a glass draw if you high roll. But mainly this is just a nice extender to have for certain hands. And for the last engine card that I am running, 1 copy of Battlin Boxer Cross Counter. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you can destroy a Battlin Boxer monster, Battlin Boxer or number Xyz monster you control. And if you do, you negate the activation. If you do, you destroy that monster. And if you did that, you can special summon a Battlin Boxer Xyz with a different name from the one you initially destroyed from your extra deck, and attach this card as a material to it. This is one of the cards of all time in terms of how much of this effect you are getting off. Because not only does this have to destroy the monster your opponent controls to get the summon, but this also has to destroy the monster you control to get the summon. Well, at least it's a monster negate and it's searchable. So that's at least something very nice. Gets easily turned on by, King Dempsey. And yeah, from here on out, I am playing a fuckload of non-engine. I am on 3 Ash, 3 Veiler for, hard hand traps. I guess you can count 3 Imperm as well. Swap these out if you want. I just would recommend running a good, amount of non-engine in this deck, as you do have a very low ceiling for other staples. I am on 1 Call by the Grave against hand traps and 3 copies of Book of Moon. A very cool card. Really like this playable again, especially with the new shiny secret speed world print, which is readily available. So yeah, playing a whole lot of non-engine, but I think in these 13 slots you can fit whatever non-engine you have, or potentially add in a bit more engine if you want. As mentioned previously, Flammable Counter is a great card. Or potentially if you want another extender, you can play a Battlin Boxer Shadow, which is also very cool. So with that, let's get into the extra deck, starting off with 1 copy of C105, a Battlin Boxer Comet Cestus. This is essentially a 2800 Flame Wingman. It will burn your opponent for half the base attack of a monster that it destroys by battle. The second effect is rank up dependent, which you are not doing in this deck because there sadly is not a really good rank up spell, or not one where I found the confidence to play this. I still ended up getting an ulti because it's cool. I like this guy. Something neat, you can maybe pull off a cross counter, which is kind of cool. So that's a thing. Otherwise, in terms of other Battlin Boxer Xyz, we are on 2 C79 on a Battlin Boxer General Kaiser. Takes 3 level 5 monsters, and this is a Solemn Warning. This detaches 2 to Solemn Warning one of your opponent's summons, which is very nice. Also has a rank up effect, which you sadly will not get to. Then the most important rank 4 in this deck, Battlin Boxer King Dempsey, one of the most crazy cards ever printed, because they put generic searching for a level 4 or lower Fire Warrior on a generic rank 4, which is kind of naughty. Yeah, generic rank 4, if this is special summoned, you can add a Fire Warrior monster that is level 4 or lower, or a Battlin boxing spell trap from your deck to hand, or send it to the graveyard. And also something neat is you can detach a material from this guy at quick effect speed to make your Battlin boxers untargetable for the turn. And in combination with the next guy, that makes for some pretty nasty setups that can prove very troublesome to deal with Lead Yoke. Yes, we're still making Lead Yokes. It's been like 10 years, I think, and this deck still makes Lead Yokes. It takes two level 4 Battlin boxer monsters, and if a Battlin boxer monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can detach a material from this card to replace that destruction. And if a material is detached from Lead Yoke, he gains 800. So technically, you are sitting on a King Dempsey and a Lead Yoke on your opponent's turn. King Dempsey makes your board untargetable, and Lead Yoke gives you some destruction protection, which does make these idiots rather tough to deal with, which is very nice, especially combined with, that counter trap I talked about earlier. For some more niche cases, we are playing one original 105 Battlin boxer Star Cestus. This is kind of a magic cylinder where you can you make this with 3 level 4s, and if a Battlin boxer you control battles, you can quick effect detach a material. You negate that opponent's monster's effects. Your opponent takes the battle damage from that battle, and your monster can't be destroyed by battle. So technically, you could just summon a bunch of small boxers, make this, and then just punch into like an opponent's big guy to end the game. And then we're also playing one OG 79 Battlin boxer Nova Kaiser. This gains 100 for each material under it. Can attach a Battlin boxer from your hand or graveyard to it as material. And if this is destroyed by an opponent, when this is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, or when this is destroyed by a card effect, I think in general. No, it's by an opponent's card effect. When you need to be careful with that, this can miss timing. You can special summon level 4 lower Battlin boxes from your graveyard, equal to the number of Xyz material this guy had. Now we're getting into some generics. We're of course playing a Zeus since we're in an Xyz deck. We're playing a Vespacito since we're in an Xyz deck. We are playing a small Utopia package of Utopia and the Lightning to out towers, since that is usually what this deck really struggles with, or rather with big idiots in total, especially if they have some form of protection. And for the last slots, I went with a Tornado Dragon for some back row removal and an Abyss Dweller in case this comes up, I guess, and you can make this before like you Battlin boxer lock yourself, which isn't, often, but it can happen. So having like a bit of, rank 4 toolbox in your deck doesn't hurt. But in most cases, you will need to remember that you will be hard locked into your archetype, which does limit your toolbox abilities a bit. But otherwise, I still think this is an incredibly cool deck. Very simple game plan of, just establishing like a King Dempsey and a Lead Yoke turn 1 with a counter trap, which is kind of cool. Potentially, even if you have enough gas, a General Kaiser for like a solemn warning makes like very, of course, low disruption boards, because 2 disruptions isn't like crazy. But has ample space for non-engines, so you can kind of still, get out some wins that way, which is very, very nice. And of course, the deck has a crazy good grind game, Glassjaw adding you cards back each turn, and even, in between with, uppercutters, detach effect, and just the sheer amount of, graveyard interaction you have here between the spirits and the switch hitter. You do have quite good ways to, play on follow-up turns for quite a while, which is so nice and something I really like about this deck. But yeah, with all that out of the way, let me know your thoughts down below, as I will mention in a video that will probably go up in the next couple of days. I should really work on like a call to action. So yeah, if you like this sort of stuff, leave a like down below, or a comment as mentioned earlier. Maybe even subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this stuff. But with all that out of the way, I will thank you guys very much for watching and see you guys again next time. But until then, goodbye.